Hi, this is Mrs. Ashworth, your LHS teacher librarian. This lesson is primarily for juniors doing AMLET background research for Great Gatsby. We're going to review how to evaluate web sources with the CRAP test, then spend most of the rest of the time talking about library resources. If you need access to the slideshow, you can use the link that I have here at the bottom, the bit.ly/333 raindrops link. To review, your teacher wants you to find a mixture of open web and library resources. So let's talk about the upsides and downsides of both. On the open web, the sky's the limit, but locating good quality resources you can use for high school research is sometimes like looking for a needle in a haystack because there's so much out there, good and bad. Yes, some websites host curated information, but you have to be selective about using even curated information because it might show bias or be outdated. You're also going to run into the problem of paywalls when you do find decent articles. It's inevitable. I'm sure you'd believe me when I point out that Wikipedia is the most used research site, and I put research in quotes. I'm going to remind you that this is a sad fact. Lots of amateur researchers stop at Wikipedia. Your job for high school and beyond is to start there. That's optional. And do your pre-search there, then quickly move on to better sources. So with a library, your main research should be completed here. And we're talking about all kinds of sources that you can use. And it's mainly because they're academic. They are curated by librarians. It's vetted by research professionals and librarians alike. We purchase the materials. We have subscriptions to databases, and we purchase books and ebooks to provide you with these vetted academic materials. And you won't be hitting paywalls as a result, of course. And I think you'll probably understand when I say that databases are the most used library research resources. And there's a good reason for it. The reason is that we have tons more content on our databases than we actually have print in our library. Before we really dig into the library resources, we need to review our handy-dandy website evaluation tool known as the CRAP test. Briefly, each of these criteria will guide you to decent research open web sources. Remember to evaluate each site before you pull research from it. Evaluating a site with the CRAP test shouldn't take more than a few minutes. My out-of-order recommendation for Gatsby research is the ARAP test. I actually recommend that you do it a little bit differently, but I'm going to go through each of these and I'm just going to click through them real quick, but I'm going to tell you how I would do it for Great Gatsby. So first of all, I would start by looking for a reference section, works cited, or bibliography. So we're talking about the accuracy piece here. So if a source has a bibliography or works cited section, that's awesome. If not, move to a new website. Next, look for length, and this is the relevance piece. If the article is nice and long, great. You have a limited number of sources for this research, so choose the ones that cover your topic in depth. If the article is short, move on. Now focus on authority. Check authorship. If the person or organization responsible for the content doesn't have credentials to talk with authority about the subject, move on. Next, I would verify the content's purpose, and that it's not biased or false information. And you do this by cross-referencing with other sources. And finally, for Great Gatsby research, look for the date. If you can't find one, that's okay. However, all the best articles do have dates, just FYI. Instead of spending a lot of time going over all of these different pieces, you are going to have some homework. You'll be doing a CRAP test review for homework. You might not remember all the pieces, so I've put together a video review and Google form that your teachers will give you access to. If you can memorize the criteria and the main things to be looking out for in a good academic website, you're all set. And I have confidence that you'll find good websites for your research. Now, normally in the library, I would spend some time kind of pointing things out, and unfortunately I can't do this because I'm doing this from home. So I'm just going to quickly go over this information. The first is the print books. We have a cart that we put together for you. And Miss Lucas can help you locate items on the card if you need help, or you can just browse through those items, but they'll be available for your classes. Please note that you cannot check them out. The other students in the other AMLIT classes need these books as well, so please don't remove them from the library. If you need to scan items, use the scanner in the library, and Miss Lucas can help with that as well. Or use your phone. If you have a smartphone with a scanning app, use that. I highly recommend getting one if you don't have one. The next main set of resources are our digital resources, and those I'm going to talk about in a little bit more depth, but we have 3 places that you can get information that you can use for your sources for your research. So we have the Destiny catalog, which you can search for print books as well as ebooks. We have Sora, and then we also have databases. And I have given you access to this digital resources document, and the link is right here on the slide. The bit.ly/22puppies links will take you directly to the digital resources document. And I'm going to pause and click over to that so you can see it. So here's that digital resources document, and notice that this is something that I have available to all of you. That link will take you directly to it. If you're on the library website, you can access that same document underneath the big group of databases that we'll go through in a second here. Down below it says how to access databases from school and home, and if you open up that section, you can click on the same link right here that gets you to the document. But the reason why I shared the link with you in our slideshow is because I wanted you to be able to have access to that more quickly. And notice you'll see the Google triangle that will allow you to add this document to your Google Drive, which I highly recommend that you do, and that'll make it easier for you to connect to all of our resources that way. So notice at the top I have a link here where you can connect if you need to set up a 15-minute research appointment with me. Maybe you have some questions about sources, or you have an open web source that you think might work, or you just need some help with and your teacher isn't available. Please feel free to contact me either via email. If you click on this, that will get my email, or through a 15-minute research appointment. We can do that in Zoom or in person. So now below we have a link to Destiny Discover that gets you to our different collections that we have available in the library, as well as our e-resources and print books. Sora Overdrive gets you to some of the other ebook resources, and then we have a list of all the different databases down here that we have connections to and subscriptions to. As well as on the right hand side, for example, if you need to get into ProQuest, we have the usernames and passwords if you're off campus. If you're on campus, you should be able to click on any of these and open them up, no problem. I think I'm going to go back to the library website just to show you the databases that I think you might want to use for your Great Gatsby research. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to focus my attention on the library website. To get to this, I just went over to Academics and then the library, but you can also access this from the student portal on the website. So let's talk quickly about some of the sites or the databases that you will probably find the most useful in your research. So just listing them off here, I have Britannica Online, which is the Encyclopedia Britannica. This is the Spanish version. You want the one with a blue background, okay? Explora is our EBSCO host, and that will get you articles as well as ebooks if you go through Explora. If you just want ebooks, you can go through here, but I think you're going to have a lot more success if you go here. And then to the left down here, you have Gale eBooks. That's another great place to find good in-depth sources. And then you can also find good stuff through eBook Central or ProQuest Central Student. Those are both great places to find information. Now below that, in this row at the very bottom of the screen, I have access to several image sites: Unsplash, Pixabay, PicWizard, and the Noun Project. I know that your teachers probably will have you do some kind of a presentation, and you'll need access to royalty-free images or Creative Commons licensed images, and these are great places to get those. And that you'll have to cite them in your research as well, so that's important to do, and these are all good places to get them. Now I'm going to open up an article in Explorer because I think that it's important for you to see what this looks like. Say I want to find stuff about arts and architecture in the 20s. I could do a little search like that, and I can click on that, and let's see what EBSCO finds for me. All right, so I have a news article right here. I have a periodical right here. I have some video results. So I have some research tips down here in EBSCO. It's going to give me some tips about how to, maybe I need some search tips because I didn't type in good search and the keywords, or maybe I need to learn how to cite the source. So you can get some good stuff from the databases themselves, but I'm just going to teach you some basics, okay? So let's pretend like you did a successful search here and found an article that you actually really want to use. If I click on this article right here, this is opening up the article for me. It looks like a nice long article. It's from Newspaper Source Plus. It's PR Newswire, and I want to use it, say, for example, in my research. So over on the right-hand side in EBSCO, I can click Cite, and I can find the citation format that I want to use, which is MLA 8th edition. And then I'm going to copy and paste this directly into a Google Doc. Something that I would recommend, highly recommend that you do is check to make sure that this link that EBSCO gives you will take you directly back to this article, because the worst thing to have happen is that you just start collecting articles and with the intention that you're going to go back and read them, and then you can't find them because you used the wrong link. So to combat that, if this does not take you directly back to the article, there is a way to get the permalink in EBSCO, and that's over here, right here. There's a permalink, and that will give me this link up here that will take me directly back to this article. A lot of people make the mistake, I'm just going to move this up real quick, of thinking that the URL in this field will take me directly back to the article, and that is incorrect. So that's for EBSCO. None of the other subscription databases make you use a permalink. You'll go directly to the articles with the links that they provide for you. So just remember that for EBSCO. That was a pretty lengthy side trip into the databases, but I did want to point out that I did mention Miss Lucas as a help. And I also mentioned that you can email me, or you could set up a research appointment with me if you need it. We also have access to this research website that we put together, and I'm not going to go through that right now, but a lot of the stuff that you might have questions about, whether it's how to cite sources, access to MLA citation guidelines, as well as just the how to evaluate websites with a CRAP test, and that kind of thing, you can go to this link right here, and that will help you out some more. I know I've already talked to you about databases, but I really want you to understand what they are, because it's important to get a grasp of why we want you to use them. A database is a collection of items. The word database is a compound noun. Take it apart, you get data and base. Newspaper articles, journal articles, graphs, books, videos, and pictures are just examples of data that might be in a database. And I think the important point that we're making here is that we're taking these news items directly from the publications, wherever they were published originally. This data is stored in a base. The base for digital files is a server, a collection of servers on a server farm somewhere. And as you probably are aware, servers are just big hard drives with lots of space to hold that data. The servers that hold all the data are administered by the big companies like JSTOR, EBSCO, Gale, and ProQuest, who have deals with all of the different journals and all of the different newspaper publishers, and they collect all that information to provide it for you in one place, which is pretty nice. Okay, that's basically the lowdown on databases. So why is it so great to use a database? First, you can access them anywhere as long as you have internet access. Second, it's a well-known fact that databases are more reliable for locating vetted material. Thirdly, databases are equipped with built-in search tools, also known as limiters. I didn't show you those when I was going through the database, but they are very powerful. You can narrow down your search by language, by data format type, and you will often find more articles like this one button or something similar to that. Fourthly, you will be able to access full text articles without paying for them because we subscribe to the databases, and you can download them oftentimes directly to Google Drive. Finally, all the databases have citation tools. I showed you that one in EBSCO, but all of them have them. You don't have to use EasyBib. You can select the citation, copy it, and paste it directly into your notes or Works Cited without having to track down the author, publisher, or date published, or any of that stuff. Like I showed you before, we have on the library website, we have a list of all the databases, like I mentioned as well. You can also just use the digital resources document to get you directly over to them. Just to remind you, at school, if you're looking for them, go to the LHS library webpage, and to get to that, you go through academics or you go through the student portal. At home, just use that LHS digital resources document. If you did it like I recommended that you do it, you save that document or will save that document to your Google Drive. Before you get started using databases, it's important to remember that databases are not Google. Because data is hosted and administered by different companies, you'll find that they organize their data different ways. Be patient and don't give up after one attempt at finding something on a database. Be glad that you live in the information age when database companies are constantly updating their interfaces for user friendliness. What you have now is very different from what I had when I was doing research as a high school student. If you head to the databases but can't find anything on your topic, here are some suggestions. It's a good idea to do a little pre-search before you get settled into active searching. For example, if you're looking for articles on drones, you'll probably quickly find that these are also called UAVs. This is totally related to Great Gatsby, but you get the idea. Don't shy away from using ebooks. You'll be able to search the table of contents and index for your topic, and you'll find related terms that you can actually click on and access. And also you have the handy dandy Control F or Open Apple F that will allow you to search within that book for the actual search terms that you're looking for. Make use of the index and the table of contents to narrow down your keywords that you want to use though. And then also try using Boolean operators. We'll talk more about those in a second here. Boolean operators are like and, or, and not. That will narrow down or broaden your topic. For example, you could put drones, not bees, to avoid getting results about bees. If you're still not finding anything, move to another database and start again. Once you've found one good article, you'll be able to steal search terms from that article or use the Find More Like This button that all good databases have. Finally, if you're really stuck, you should definitely talk to someone, find a librarian, or talk to your teacher. I think it's important for all good researchers to know some basic Boolean operators. This teaches you how to talk to databases. Boolean is named after George Boole, who is an English mathematician, philosopher, and logician. And a Boolean search is a search done using Boole's studies in logic. An operator is a tool that you use to speak to the databases. It could be a word, a set of words, or punctuation marks like I have here. And combine search terms, so each search result contains all of the terms. So if I'm looking for education and technology or cats and dogs, that narrows my search down to whatever's in the center of the two circles, the Venn diagram here. Or we'll expand your search and allow you to search for more things. So if I'm looking for cats or dogs, with Great Gatsby, I'd be looking for something like Art Nouveau or Art Deco. Both of those terms are related to that era. More Art Deco, but some Art Nouveau, because that's kind of in that tail end. And that will expand your search if you're having trouble finding information on one or the other. Not is an operator that excludes terms. So I mentioned the example of drones, not bees. For Great Gatsby research, I think one that you might be interested in using, if you're doing the one on historical things that happened during that time period. I know that the Spanish flu was a big deal, so influenza. And maybe you would want to put something like Spanish, not swine flu, or something like that to make sure that you're narrowing it down to just cover that particular flu. That would be an example applicable to your research. Quotation marks are really, really helpful. And I know that you get away with not using quotation marks with Google because it's so intuitive and it has all the algorithms in place. But databases actually function well if you use quotation marks around a group of terms that you want together. For example, one of your research options was to do research on the lost generation. Now, if you just typed in lost generation into Google, it would know what you're talking about and get you some good results. If you put quotes around the lost generation, you'll get better results. Another function that you might want to test out is the use of parentheses. It'll be useful for things, let's just use the influenza example again. If I say in parentheses, Spanish, not swine flu, and then out of parentheses I say, and World War I. That would probably give me better results. But we could test it out and see how it goes if you're not getting good results. Again, all of these operators are really used to help you expand and narrow down your searches. They're tools that you can test out and use. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Another tool that you might want to try out is the wildcard. You'll use a wildcard symbol like a question mark or hashtag to create searches where there are unknown characters. And I have some instructions on how to use those right here. If you would like to pause the recording and read this slide more in depth, you can do that. Otherwise, just make note of the fact that you can use them. You could try them out. I doubt that you'll need them, but I just wanted to let you know that this is one of the things that databases use, and you might want to try it out. Another tool is Truncation. I find this one actually more useful than the wildcard because it's something that you put at the end of a root word, and it allows you, it's an asterisk, and it allows you to find all words with that same root. So that might be useful to you. Test it out, see if you can find any better searches or search results with that. I've covered a lot of bases in this presentation. Please feel free to reach out and ask your friendly neighborhood librarian if you need any help. And you can also make a research appointment, or you can email me. And the presentation slides are here at this bit link that I have here. Again, if you need to access that and review it, go ahead. Good luck on your research.